Top 11 villains of all time. Fictional villains. Hi folks, I'd like to talk about the top 11 villains that I happen to like. Why 11? Because it's become a cliche at this point. I already did 11 of the films I think everybody should watch, and why not 11 villains? Now this is in some sort of order. They will be ordered from the most depressive being on the top to the least depressive, and I will try to explain why that some of the villains I love are still on the bottom of the list, mostly because they're probably not very good at being villains, or because they just had bad luck, or because, you know, they don't click. Number 11, the Daleks from Doctor Who. That's right, the Daleks. Exterminate, exterminate, etc., etc. It's hard not to know who the Daleks are, but why are they so low on the list, number 11? Well, it's their development. They've started out pretty strong, emotional, hate-fueled mutants. But then, in the Tom Baker years, they got pushed back to play second fiddle to Davros, who I really don't like. But also, the characters of the Daleks themselves. They became logical killing machines. But when they came back in 2005 as the paranoid, unbalanced, but emotional beings, as we all know and love, that's when they really came back. Oh, especially that fight with the Cybermen. Then they brought back the Davros again. But don't worry. Sooner or later, the Daleks will succeed. Yes. I happen to love them, but they're still number 11 because in the end also, they have a habit of losing. A lot. Number 10, Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The reason why he's so down on the list isn't because of really anything bad with him. He's actually very good. He's the big bad. He has wonderful lines. He's played by a wonderful actor. But he really doesn't plan to destroy the planet or enslave the human race or do anything like that. Why is he above the Daleks? Well, pretty well written throughout the series. He does go back and forth a little bit between kind of good and evil, but at least he doesn't have Davros. Well, okay, I guess Angel would be considered his Davros, but Angel's not as annoying as Davros. But he never allows himself to really be overshadowed. Spike is Spike, and anybody says otherwise, well, yeah, that about sums it up. Number 9 is Darth Vader from the original Star Wars trilogy. That's right, Lord Vader. But what's he doing down here in number 9? You'd think he'd have all the qualifications to be number 3 or number 2. Brutal, efficient, and a little mysterious. And a great costume. But in the end, he did kind of let his fatherly instincts take over and switch sides, right when they're about to win, maybe. Also, the first 3 episodes kind of destroyed his whole image because they gave away his background and made him into a Christ figure or Antichrist figure, a Christ figure that turned Antichrist. I don't know. It gets a little weird and, to be honest, a little too complicated for a space opera. George Lucas just ruined it for us. There, I said it. I went there. Number 8. Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe. That's right, Cobra Commander. That's right, Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe. But why Cobra? I mean, there's probably other characters from the cartoon that would have been just as interesting to put on this list. The Baroness, for example, was an incredibly intelligent character from the cartoon. Why is he on the list, then? Because he lasted so long. Well, in one of the G.I. movies, I think he actually got turned into a giant snake. But in an alternate history one, anyway, he ended up outlasting the G.I. Joes. No, really. Did you ever see that episode where he ended up in a Transformer cartoon? There he is, right there, in a Transformers cartoon. He was actually a terrorist, and near the end of the episode, he yelled out, "Cobra!" Now that cartoon is technically in the future with the next generation of Transformers. So this is Cobra Commander in the future, an older one, who survived beyond everybody else. The G.I. Joe is not even mentioned in the Transformer cartoons. Cobra Commander technically won. Though that does bring up the point about why didn't they make toys between G.I. Joe and the Transformers. Okay, you know what? That's just disturbing. Can we turn this off? Just take it off, take it off, take it off. Cobra! Ha! No, it's a Transformer. No, it's not Robotech. It's a Transformer. It's an Autobot, guys. It's Jetfire. See, it's not Robot. Okay. The figure I'm holding in my hand was used in 2 toy lines. The Transformers, and yes, a different one with different colored plastic was used for the Robotechs. Happy now? Can we move on? Number 7 is Callisto from Xena, Warrior Princess. Sword's not on straight. Oh, yeah. Callisto, a unbalanced psychopath. Similar to Cobra in some ways, but in other ways, this is the reason why she's higher up on the list. One, she has a background story. Xena and her army, in ravishing the countryside, killed Callisto's family, which is why Callisto wants vengeance. The second thing, she is freaking determined. And when I mean determined, I mean she was killed once, escaped Tartarus by possessing Xena's body, then was sent back to Tartarus, made a deal with Hera, escaped again, got a golden apple which made her immortal, but then got trapped by Hercules, but then was released by Xena to help fight another goddess. She ended up actually getting turned into a goddess, then trapped by Xena, then released by another person, and then she got killed by Xena, and then went to hell, and then came back and made the deal with the devil, and then she was turned to angel, then she became reincarnated by Xena, becoming Xena's baby, and then Hercules corrupted her and she became evil again. Throw in time travel and crossovers between both the Xena and the Hercules show, and it would take me an hour to actually explain what I've just said. The best part about Callisto is that she's played by Hudson Like, who happens to like extreme characters. She likes playing angels and she likes playing psychopaths, and that smile, I think, is pretty much natural for her. She is a little unbalanced, and that makes her sexy. Number 6, Fu Manchu from the stories. Fu Manchu, a mastermind from the East, and he's being fought by Neelan Smith, and the whole adventure is being written down by Neelan Smith's friend, the Doctor. Not to be confused with Doctor Who. It does sound like something that would be in a Sherlock Holmes story. Except Smith, while very determined and very brave, and able to sometimes counteract the plot and scheming of Fu Manchu, is actually not that smart. In fact, he seems to win almost out of good luck than anything else. And this makes for a villain who you figure sooner or later is actually just going to win out of good luck. Except this villain also happens to be a mastermind, have plenty of people willing to loyally follow him to the death, and is kind of wealthy. So actually, he's probably going to win sooner or later anyway. Oh, and one more thing. That mustache? Yeah. In his description in all the stories and novels, it's never mentioned. That's a complete invention of the TV episodes and the movies. He never had that. Number 5, Zkhan from Order of the Stick. He is a villain of the Order of the Stick. It's a webcomic. He's not very smart. He actually forgets the names of foes and friends alike. And he gets quite bored and will sometimes just say the heck with a plan and charge right in. But he's also an undead lynch, which allows him to charge right in. He's actually quite cunning, and while he can't remember names, being that he's so old, he actually remembers a lot of the cliches and how to respond to certain things. He's dealt with so many heroes, he knows what they do and how they think. He understands motivation, and being a powerful undead lynch who was also born a sorcerer, he has a lot of firepower. And did I mention he's insane, has no value on human or other life forms, and is in charge of a massive army that's plotting to take over the world? He has a complex, detailed personal history, as well as most of his minions. They are all motivated to follow him, though not that loyal. They will follow him to a certain point, and he knows it. He's very cunning if not intelligent. He believes that no matter what tactic or strategy you have, there's always a level of power that can overwhelm that strategy or tactic. He's one of those villains that you actually want to see how he deals with something. Because 90% of the time, when you introduce him to an event or a hero, he's already dealt with it in the past, so he knows exactly what to do. And when he doesn't know what to do, will he think of a cunning little ploy, or will he just smash through it? He's actually quite interesting to watch, and that is why he's such a fascinating villain and so high up on the list. And he's still going on. The story hasn't ended. And outside of a few supervillains in the setting of the story, it's very unlikely the heroes, the Order of the Stick, will probably defeat him. But also, being the villain, will he be allowed to win? It's become a question of not when he'll be defeated, but if he'll actually win, which makes it so interesting to read, and him so interesting a villain.